Every little girl grows up dreaming about her happy ever after, but most of us don't have fairy tale scriptwriters making sure we get it. That's where the Happy Ever After show comes in. If you have been waiting for a fairy godmother to wave her magic wand and release your frustrations, create the prosperity you want, and live a life you love, then listen closely. It's time to learn how to make your own wishes come true with your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome back for another episode of the Happy Ever After show. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor that you put me in your headphones, you tune into this podcast, and that we get to hang out together virtually. I love it. I love that you're trusting me to guide you down this path. I know that you're here because you want to welcome more money into your life without the struggle so that you can build your business quicker and easier. And today we're going to talk about step number 3 in manifesting money, which is focus on what you want. And this is one of the simplest things and yet one of the hardest things. It's one of the places where I see people that I work with struggle and, just not struggle for a long time, but it takes a while to get it. This is something that takes practice. And when you get it and you can really catch yourself, whether we're talking about manifesting $10,000 or we're talking about attracting clients, we're talking about, doubling your business, whatever we're talking about, when you can master focusing on what you want and right down to, it's to the point now, I've mastered this enough that I will even catch myself before certain words come out of my mouth. I'll go to speak and I'll go, nope. And I'll take a deep breath and I'll re-say whatever I was going to say, because I always want, and I'm not 100% at this, but I'm probably batting, over 900. I always, and it's my intention to be batting 1,000 and to always be focused on what I want and to find a way to say, especially when there's words coming out of my mouth, because that's energy and that's coming out into the world, to be focused on what I want. All of that. If I'm forming any words, if I'm writing, I really want it all to come from the place of focusing on what I want, because that's what grows. Where you put your attention is what you get more of. It's where your experience expands, right? Where you put intention, your experience expands in that area. So, and that's attention, focus. So you really want to make sure that you're putting that on what you want and where you want it to be. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that, especially how it relates in its step number 3 and how to manifest $10,000 in 90 days. So we're going to focus on that. And speaking of focusing on that, I get to do a workshop, a completely full workshop this weekend, my Double Your Business workshop. I'm so excited about it. I love this workshop. I love everything I do, but I just get giddy and excited when it, comes time to start the workshop and dive in and get really, clear. I get to take 5 participants to meet their future selves. And that is a journey that I love taking people on. If you would have told me 5 years ago that this is what I would get to do, I wouldn't have believed you, I didn't even, first of all, because I didn't know the workshop existed, but, just that it's so much better than I ever imagined, right? So I knew that I would love my coaching practice. I knew I would love not working in corporate America, but, just the fact of what I get to do and what I've been able to create for others, to support others in their growth, in growing their businesses, is amazing to me. And it's the foundation that I created when I started working on my money mindset, right? That was a lot of how I learned, this stuff that I take to the next level with my clients, like we'll do in this workshop, where we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to take them to, it's not even, I don't know, it's another level, but it's a whole other realm, because I get to introduce them to their future self. And that's my favorite thing to do. I love it. I don't know if I have a favorite thing in my business now that I said that. I love it all. If I was talking about, working with my clients, in the program after we do the workshop, if there's this, you can work with me for 6 months afterwards, each week seeing them show up more as their future self. I love that too, right? I'd probably say, if I just finished that, I would say that's my favorite thing in my business. If I'm doing a one-on-one scripting call with one of my clients, I'll just say that's my favorite. And the point of all this is that really my favorite thing is to serve my clients in all of the ways that I do that and to do my business. And in order to create a business that flows and that has clients coming in, I rely on my money mindset a lot. Like, I know that the key to having this door open and having clients flow in quicker and easier is this foundation I created with my money mindset. It's also that I have a money mindset that welcomes money. And I know that's why you're here, because you want to create a mindset that welcomes money so that you can build your business quickly and easily. And that's why, I'm sharing all about, going through the process of manifesting 10,000, because I love talking about this. And the reason I love talking about it is because it's foundational to the success of my business. Like, one of the places I think what I see entrepreneurs struggle is it's when it comes to taking their business to a new financial level. So they think it's about more clients. They think it's about all this other stuff. But on the bottom level, a lot of times it's about being able to welcome that money in and being able to see yourself as somebody who is abundant. I just believed over and over and over again as I stepped into this and I, work my money mindset, that I could, have money come in a way that felt easy. And I talked about last show how that really meant in a way that felt like freedom, in a way that I was in control of my time. That was key for me. And I just kept believing, there is a way to make money that doing something that I love and where I have the freedom that I need, right? For me, freedom isn't even something I want. It's something I need. I thrive in having that space and freedom. And that doesn't mean I don't schedule things. It doesn't mean I don't also thrive when I have, when I have things that, need to get done at certain times. I really do. And I schedule my days as such to support both the, how I thrive in freedom, but also how I thrive in structure. So it's a little, insider information into how I run my business, but all being able to even create that, being able to know that that's who I am and that's how I operate best, really started with this foundational money mindset. And so I'm excited to share it with you. I'm glad that you're here. If you love this season of the podcast, I would love if you go to manifest10000book.com, pre-order your copy of Manifest 10,000. This helps me out, I'll be honest, but it also helps get the book out. So if Manifest 10,000 has changed your life, if this podcast has changed your life, if Manifest 10K has changed your life in some way, I would love if you paid it forward, because when you pre-order, that just gets it on more bookshelves. It gets it, in front of there's more possibilities of people to find it, because people will carry it because you're interested. And so I just think of it as a way to pay it forward. And if you love my work, if you've been following me for a while, I would love if you just go to manifest10000book.com, pick your favorite retailer, click on the link, go buy it, come back to the page, manifest10000.com, put in your information, and I'll send you a complimentary copy. Right? And so those are going out. If you ordered one a little while ago and it hasn't come, complimentary copies are on their way. Just had to wait for more books to get here. So just want to let you know that. But, as my way of just saying thank you for helping spread the word, I'm going to send you a complimentary copy. So you get your copy now, and then when your copy arrives in the mail, you can share it with someone. You can, again, pay it forward and give it to somebody that you know could benefit. So manifest10000book.com. I would love if you pre-ordered the book. Thank you so much to everybody who's pre-ordered. I just want to shout out to a couple, Katie, Patty, Jennifer, Kylie, Holly, Tanya. Thank you so much for ordering. That's just, a couple of names, some I try and do some every episode, but just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I look at the names that come in and I say a personal thank you as I see the name come in. And as we send the book out, I do a little intentional prayer type money abundance thing on the book. And really, just because I want you to have all the good juju possible, right? So I love what I do. Thank you for supporting me in my work, and thank you for sharing it, which allows me to come in contact with more people and get to keep doing what I love, and things like this podcast and talking about how to manifest money, which is by far one of my favorite things to talk about. So let's get into it. So this episode, we're talking about focusing on what you want. And we started, if you listen to the episode about manifesting debt freedom, you've gotten some of this before, right? So it is so important to focus on what you want. And so often I find people are focusing on what they don't want, even if they don't realize it. They think they're focusing on what they want, but what they're actually focused on, what they're actually talking about, what they're actually thinking about is what they don't want. So, I always like if you go to manifest10k.com and you want to join the course, that's awesome. And I spend there's a long time, not a long time, like couple days a week, where it's all about focusing on money. It's all about engaging that playful energy of money. It's all about changing where your focus is, because the more you see money, the more you will see it as possible for you. Like the more you see it, the more that's what's going through your brain instead of any of this lack, I don't have enough, all that stuff. Because we really, not enough. So people often they want to go from not enough money, that feeling, to more than enough. What happens though, is you got to stop in the middle at enough, right? You have to really land in that place where you have enough. And so part of focusing on what you want is focusing on what you already have and acknowledging like what you do already have. And that, that can change everything, literally. Like there are a lot of pieces. This system works well together. And there are a lot of things, if you just took one piece and did it like consistently, it would be amazing. If you just look around right now, as long as you're not driving or, but the next time you're in your house or your home or maybe even your car, and you look around and you appreciate everything that you do have, like how much is enough, right? And I always go back to this. I think I wrote this in one of my first books, but socks, like you likely have more than enough socks. I don't know. Most people have more than enough unless they're super good at like cleaning out their sock drawer all the time. Most people I know you have more than enough socks, right? You just need one pair a day. I especially have more than enough socks because I only wear socks to work out. So I don't need them. Well, I guess I do need them every day. But, most of us can find a place where we have more than enough, and we can start really acknowledging, hey, like I have enough food in the fridge, or I have more than enough. And when you can start putting your focus on the fact that you have enough or even more than enough, it really takes that focus off, I don't have enough. And where you put your focus is where your experience will expand. So being focused on what you want is really important. So we talked about in the debt episode, not being focused on debt, but being focused on what is it that you actually want? Because I guarantee it's not just to have, a zero balance. That's for 1 second, right? Like literally you get it in the mail. It's like 1 second. And I remember like the day, it was a super happy day. I remember the day I got the title to my Jeep, because I love my Jeep. If you've not heard about the Jeep yet, here's some Jeep action for you. I love my Jeep. It's over 10 years old. I love it. I love it. I love driving it. I love how I feel in it. I love everything about it. There's a lot more stories to it, but I paid it off when I started, snowballing my debt, just like we talked about. And so it came to paying off the Jeep, and, I paid it like, whatever the final payment, and I paid it off early. So I knew, and I didn't really know what happens because I just always, I don't know, I had cars without payments before. So, I remember a couple weeks after I made the last payment, I got this thing in the mail, and I was like, I wonder what this is, because the envelope didn't look, I don't know, you could tell it wasn't a sales thing. It wasn't, it's escaping my mind, junk mail, but it wasn't from the bank. It wasn't a bank statement. It wasn't anything like that. And I opened it up, and it was the title to my Jeep, and it's green around the edges. And I remember that moment, right? But that moment was still one moment. Like it didn't last that long, And so, yeah, I loved that. I loved that I didn't have to make the payment every month. I loved that I owned the Jeep, but that was like one moment when the Jeep was paid off, right? So there were 2 moments. There's that moment I hit send on the final payment, and there's the moment the title came in the mail, right? But that was like 2 moments. So the rest of it really was about the $266 extra I had a month to do something else with, right? and, just to do whatever I wanted, it was actually, I started saving to buy real estate. And that's what you want. And that's just an example of, focus on what you want, because that's what you're going to get more of, right? So I was focused at that point, I'm going to have $266 more a month. I'm going to have $266. I could tell you to the penny, I can't do the math that fast. It's about $3,000. It's, I don't know, probably about $3,200, somewhere in there. $3,100, $3,200 a year more. And I said, I'm going to have that. I'm going to have that to invest. And I would think about, okay, so 5 years from now, I have $15,000 to invest. I'll have about 16, close to 16, 15.5, 15.6 or whatever. Because, I had that money, and I would just focus it out, and I'd say, okay, then I'll have 15,000 and I can invest in this house and I can do that. And even though it was 5 years out, I played this game all the time with everything and money. Like, I didn't care if I had to go 20 years out to like something was paid off or whatever. It was like, okay, then I'll have 15,000 and then I can buy this house and then I can make this much of money a month. And then I'll have that 266 plus I'll have 400. And you don't really have to be following the math here, but the point is I learned and I latched onto focusing on what I wanted. And the way I did that is just focusing on how much more money was coming into my life. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, cool. 266 is paid off. That means I'm going to have over $3,000 a year. 5 years from now, I'll have $15,000, and then I can buy this, and that is going to give me another $300 a month. So I'm going to have $566 a month, which a year is $6,000. So in 3 years, I'll buy another property. And I just kept focusing on what I wanted, which is more and more abundance, right? Versus focusing on what I didn't have in the moment or what it didn't reflect in my bank account. I could get myself, and I got real good at getting myself into that place where I was focused on what I wanted more of, and I could get to that experience, right? And that just comes from focusing on what you want. It comes from not focusing on debt. It comes from focusing on money. So often, like, what does happen is that you're focused on the lack. And when you're focused on the lack, you can't attract more because you're going to attract more lack, right? And so just turn noticing money into a game. When my sister's godson he was probably 2. And so this was quite a while ago, but we had him for a weekend or a day. I don't know. She had him and I went with them to do whatever. I can't remember what we did, but something fun. But we were driving around in the car a lot, and I was sitting in the back with him, and, there was these lottery billboards at the time that had like cash on them, like money on them, not real, but it was a billboard and it was cut out and looked like cash. And we drive around and I'd say, there's money. And he would, and I did this all morning just because I think it's fun to point out when there's money. And when she took him home, I think I only spent half the day with him, and then she had him the other half of the day or whatever. But, she's like, just so you know, he now points out money on billboards. And I'm like, yep. And that's as it should be. Like, our focus should always be on that money. If we want abundance in our life, it should always be on what we want, right? And so focus on where there is money. Focus on where you are seeing more money in your life. Focus on the evidence, even if it's, a billboard that has $10,000 cash on it that's, painted but not real. Like, focus on the fact that you see money, because that's how more money shows up. That's how you start seeing those opportunities for money. It's how you start seeing where you're missing money, right? It's when you start then seeing, there's a participant in Manifest 10K. And one of the ways that money came into her life wasn't by someone buying a check. It was by her, like, all of a sudden having the courage and noticing, like, hey, there's money going out the door there, like in places that she didn't realize was going out the door. So she could, take control of that and look at that. And that's how money showed up in her life. But turn noticing money into a game as much as possible, because this is going to raise that vibration. It's going to raise, your energy and your focus into being money. If you can make it a game, it's that more playful energy. It's coming from that more playful spot. So one of the ways that you can do this, and we do this in Manifest 10K, is to just engage in a money manifesting scavenger hunt. So just set the intention to find a penny. And then once you found a penny, set the intention to find a nickel. And I say find very intentionally because you could look forever, but your intention is to find money. So just continue upping the amount until you find the next thing on your list and the next thing on your list. And I even, when I did the course the first time, I did $2 bills. I said, I'm going to find a $2 bill right after I'd gotten, I think 5, 10, after a 20, I don't know. I put the $2 bill in there somewhere. It was a bonus. It was a bonus scavenger hunt. I said, I've found everything else. I'm going to find it. Right. And I got it in change. Who gives change in $2 bills? $2 bills don't end up in, and it was somewhere random, like the gas station where normally I wouldn't pay with cash or something. Normally I'd use my card or whatever, but for whatever reason I paid cash and the cashier handed me a $2 bill. And I remember thinking, yep, I'm on it, right? And so this scavenger hunt is really fun for ways like that, like seeing how money shows up. And it just, even though we're talking about a penny, a nickel, a dime, a $2 bill, a $5 bill, a $20 bill, which might not sound like that much, when you start noticing those smaller amounts, you're opening up your mind to see greater possibilities in more amounts, right? All you're doing in focusing on what you want in this way, when you're just playing, is you're creating fertile ground to really start manifesting, and you're priming your brain to see all these things and to open to these opportunities. So play with the scavenger hunt, look for money, acknowledge when you see money. Just even like when you're going through a magazine and you're like, oh, there's a money ad, like there's money. You'll start to just notice, even if it's not cash in hand, pictures of money, you just start noticing that there's more energy of money around than you realized. And again, that opens what I'd say the portals, like it opens those possibilities to see how there's more money. And you want to be focused on what you want, right? And so just, focus on what you want instead of what you don't have. And again, that can be easier said than done. It takes practice. It's something that I still catch myself, but you get better and better at just focusing on what you want. And this is all areas. We can talk about, if we're talking about in terms of money, but it matters in all areas. Just focusing on what you want and putting that energy and attention on expanding that experience that you desire, right? What you want more of. So I would encourage you to just, check in. What am I focused on, right? Because focus is on seeing money. It's on celebrating money, right? Like we talked about with the billboard, it's also, playing the scavenger hunt and seeing money, but it's also being focused and acknowledging. Part of that focus is acknowledging like, hey, there's money coming into my account, in the days we're in direct deposit days. So sometimes you might not even look on payday to see the check come in, right? Maybe you do because you're like, okay, I need this check, right? But really, celebrate like, oh, there's money coming in, right? Take your time to focus on that in all areas, but make sure that's where your focus is. Your focus is on what you want, more abundance, right? And that means, again, that's finding money. It's seeing money. It's acknowledging, just seeing pictures of money in magazines or on billboards. And it's also just in life, focusing on what you want and seeing that it's there and seeing that there is more money, seeing that there's possibility, right? So turn your focus to money and abundance and really open up to that space and see what happens. And that's step number 3 in how to manifest money. And next time we're going to talk about, really allowing money to flow into your life. I'm super excited about that. As always, thank you so much for listening. And, I just wanted to share this quick story with you. A couple weeks ago, I wanted someone to grab some quotes for my book because you all are better at seeing stuff because I wrote it. So sometimes I don't see the really good stuff. I just kind of miss it because I see the whole thing. And I write it for you. And so you obviously can pull things out different than I can. Anyway, there was a Manifest 10K participant, and she had set the intention to get some money. And in the morning, for something, I don't know what it was, but she said, she set the intention to find some money. And then she followed her instinct and just logged on to Facebook at a certain time. And it was literally 2 seconds after I'd posted the request, that I was looking for 5 people to do this and I was going to pay them. And I love that because it's one of those things, but it's focusing on what you want and acknowledging like, oh, I followed my intuition. I wanted money. I followed my instinct, and here I am. And then really, focusing on the fact that you get money, and she got money for, everybody who did this exercise where I had them pull quotes out of the course or the book, they were like, it was so good to go back through it. Like this elevated my mindset today. So it was bonus, right? It was getting paid to do something that's helpful to you and that you enjoy doing. And so I just wanted to share that, because that's as simple, manifesting money can be as simple as setting the intention, following your instincts, and then allowing it into your life. And so we're going through all the steps, but I just wanted to share that story with you, because it doesn't have to be complicated, but you do have to be, again, like disciplined and focused on what you're doing and where you're putting your energy and attention, because where you put your energy and attention, that's expanding your experience. So focus on what you want. I'm going to leave you with this mantra for this week. I focus on what I want more of. I focus on what I want more of. So practice it, write it down, put it up in front of you. Just say it and see what opens up for you. Have a fabulous week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for joining us on the Happy Ever After show, where you don't need a genie lamp to get your wishes granted. Now that you're inspired and ready to take action, get yourself on the path to your happy ever after by scheduling a complimentary strategy session at createmyhappyeverafter.com.